Welcome to our weekly Q&A show where we answer submitted questions live on YouTube on Tuesdays at 2 p.m.
Hi, and welcome to our Tuesday Q&A show. This is where we answer questions submitted to us via however way. There's a lot of ways you can submit questions. The best way is to go to whitewaterguidebook.com, and there's a submit a question part there. Sometimes we get questions via email or Facebook. We don't always check that stuff. So if you definitely want to have your questions submitted, go to whitewaterguidebook.com. It's just me today. You're going to get the best answer you can get from just me. But the beauty of this show is that it's not just me answering questions. It's people watching. Those of you that are in the comments, you can answer the questions too. Like, I know some stuff, but there's a lot of details I don't know. And so I really would appreciate help from those of you just watching in the comments, either live or afterwards. Put your answers in the comments. A couple quick things. Abilia, thanks for being a member. Everybody who supports us as a member, we get a few bucks here and there to buy things, better cameras, things like that. Thank you. And we also have a sponsor. Aaron and I have been joking around for a while about having NRS be our sponsor, which they haven't sponsored us. But our friends at, let me see if I can figure out how to get it up there. Our friends at GoRafting.com are official sponsors of the show. And it's GoRafting.com is a website that has all kinds of river descriptions. So if you go to it, if you go to like United States, the West, there's all these descriptions. For example, the white salmon in my backyard, there's great photos and there's a description, a mile by mile guide. But even better, they have this app. It's not their app. The app is called Far Out, and you can download it on your phone, and you can buy their maps for the app. And I used one in the Grand Canyon this fall. I liked it. I wouldn't take them on as a sponsor if I thought this was silly. There's some definite advantages to having a map on your phone. One of them is that you know where you are. That's GPS located. So you can see where you are. It'll tell you 1 mile to where you're getting. So you know how far away things are on the river. But one of the big advantages of web-based and app-based guidebooks is that if a river changed, the app can change. If I have a guidebook, like a paper guidebook that I bought, and for example, like there was a blowout on above Velvet Falls and Ramshorn in the Middle Fork last year, when the rapids change, that can't be represented in a guidebook until a new edition, where the people at GoRafting.com can update their descriptions as quickly as they can get to it, and it's a better app for your trip. And so both apps and websites are live, and it's great. Go Rafting. Yeah, so there's somebody who used it. Again, you take it on the Middle Fork of the Salmon. You can bring your book. Your book might get wet. I guess you could drop your phone and then you're in trouble. But books get wet. They get left out. We found a book on the trip I did last week. A book in the bushes. People's books fall out of high water. Your phone. I put my phone on my PFD now. The new phones are, a lot of them are waterproof. My iPhone 14 is waterproof. I can just pull it out, look at something, put it back away, and yeah, they have way more information than a guidebook. When I was in the Grand Canyon, I used the app, and there was a photo of a camp, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool looking camp. Let's stop there. We chose a camp based on a photo that was downloaded. So you get the app, you download the whole guidebook, photos, descriptions, all kinds of stuff. Again, it's updated. It's super cool. This is definitely, in my opinion, the future of guidebooks, without a doubt. And so the white salmon, for example, the white salmon's like, I don't know how much they have here. They have the upper and the lower. So they have 10 miles of river. It looks like 12 miles of river. This one costs $5. And so it's just nice to have with you when you're boating to know where things are and learn the names of rapids. Some of them cost more. So I know like the Middle Fork and the Grand Canyon are a bit more. If I was to do, let's find the Middle Fork here. Where is it? Rockies, Middle Fork of the Salmon. This one is, I don't know, $20. Well worth it if you have a phone and you like doing those things. And again, all of the descriptions are on their website. All the information's here. You could just print this out and bring this with you. But the app is amazing. And when you're spending that much money on a trip, I mean, $20 for a great map, it's it. So thank you, GoRafting.com, for being a sponsor. We super appreciate that. It's fun for us to have a sponsor. It just makes us feel cool and special. So with that, let's move on to our questions for the week. And on these Tuesday Q&As, If you're watching and ask a question, just put it in the comments. I'll get to other questions. I have a bunch of questions I have to answer, but I'll get to more questions as we go. And the first one is Steve. Where's he been? Steve has been on the river. He's been guiding our rowing classes. He was there in May a bunch, and he will be back based on his availability. I mean, Steve has a life. Unlike me, I'm here. But Steve has things going on, but I invite Steve every week, and he's one of my favorite people in the world. So it's a joy to have him on the show. So we'll get him back as much as we can. But thanks for asking. Next is the best time for commercial trips in California. Think I'd like to do a commercial tour of California. Awesome. I know you and Aaron worked there for years. When's the best time to go? In a normal year, I'd say May, early June. That's when the snow melt's coming off. That's when like things are flowing. Things you'd want to do in the Sierras. Let's just say the Sierras because the Coast Range is a little different. Yuba, like the North Yuba, go do North Fork American, South Fork American, maybe the Middle Fork. I don't know. Do the Tuolumne, of course, the Merced, the Cahuilla, the Kern. Forks of the Kern is one of the best trips I've ever done. So the best time to do all that stuff would be like May, early June. This year, all that stuff is probably going to be like July, August, or maybe even, I don't know, maybe now. But this year's unique. They have so much snow. But normal year, May, early June. I like to go see class 3, 4, and then do class 5. Yeah, there's both. I mean, class 3, 4, go do, the Merced, the South Fork, the Middle Fork. And then for the class 4, 5, North Fork Americans, I guess, is a class 4. Tuolumne's class 4, unless the water levels are high. In terms of class 5, I'd say the Forks of the Kern and Cherry Creek. The Cahuilla is like 4 plus. But Forks of the Kern and Cherry Creek, and then the Cal Salmon up in the Coast Range are like the classic class 5 commercial runs in California. There's a good class 4 oil program in the South Fork American, also awesome. That's great to hear. I know nothing about it. If anybody knows about that, I'd love to hear more about it because I haven't heard about this. Could maybe do the whole shebang. Yeah. Yep. Who's your pick for best guides for Cherry Creek trip? I'm not going to pick. I would say the 2 outfitters that do it are All Outdoors and Sierra Mac. And I had favorite guides there when I was there 15 years ago. I don't know who is there now. Certainly Adam Crom, who works for Cherry Creek, is probably the most experienced, prolific Cherry Creek guide out there. But beyond that, I don't know much. Aaron and Adam Crom have friends still there. Adam Crom stays in touch with Adam on Cherry Creek. I have a lot of friends in California I still talk to, and some good companies. Just I know people personally. H2O Ventures, they're good people. Arda, they have a lot of friends there. All Outdoors, like well-run company, great people. I'm sure there's more I'm missing, but that's who I think about. All right, North Fork Rough and Ready Creek. Check this out. What's going on up there? All right, so I got sent this photo of North Fork of Rough and Ready Creek. I don't see anything. Am I looking for alien spaceships? I don't know what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for I don't see anything out of the order. This is just what it looks like. So if you're asking me, why does it look like a desert? It's because of the soils. There's this peridotite, serpentinite soil where things don't grow. And so it looks like when you're boating here, it looks like Mars. It's unreal. It's this really brown rock. I've never seen anything like it in the world. You would think you're in Moab, actually, by just the color of the rock. But this is just like how barren it is. It's crazy when you paddle. You don't see it on Rough and Ready Creek, but similar there, Baldface Creek, you'll paddle through this soil, and then the soil switches and immediately goes from brown and sparse vegetation to just dense green vegetation immediately when the geology changes. This area gets, I don't know, some record amounts of rain. Whatever a lot of rain is annual, this gets that much rain. I don't know, 12 inches, 20 inches, whatever it is. It gets a lot of rain. It's just because of the soils, plants can't and trees can't really grow. But because of that, there's a lot of rare and endangered plants. So if you zoomed in and you're there, you might find super rare plants found only here, or super rare. So this is just what North Fork rough and ready looks like. It probably doesn't look that beautiful here. I mean, it looks like California in the summer, just hot and barren. But if you're down there, it's stunning. This is an amazingly beautiful place. One of the most beautiful rivers, creeks in the world. This place is spectacular. Also, super hard to get to. I don't know where this is on Rough and Ready Creek, North Fork Rough and Ready Creek. It looks like pretty high upstream. I've hiked it. We did a 2-day hike. I've on three. I've done like 5 trips here. 3 of them we tried to get this all the way up to the top. The first 2 we got all the way top, and we got skunked for a variety of reasons. Once we made it as high as we could, and that was a 2-day hike in with gear. So it's, for me, it's worth it, but it's incredibly rare to find rafting flows there. All right, moving on. Ore Towers. I just picked up a used high side raft, and it came with frame as we're 30 years old. I've never seen Ore Towers like this, and was wondering if Zach or Aaron had any experience with them and had an idea of how reliable, durable they might be. I'm trying to figure out if I should replace these ASAP or use them for a bit. I'm guessing there's a photo coming next. Let's just look. Yep, photo. Okay, before I look at it, if it's 30 years old, I'm going to replace it, probably. Especially if I didn't buy it. If it's 30 years old and it got it used, I'm going to replace it. Who knows what's going on there? Aaron, no. Aaron's not going to replace it. Aaron's going to say, it's fine. Aaron won't spend the money. I will spend the money to have something better and less likely to break and less of a headache. But Aaron would probably use this for another 20 years. Okay. What is going on here? I have never seen anything like this. It looks like the ore tower's going straight out, which I think we'd normally like them splayed out a little bit. It looks tall, like taller than I would want. So my first take is I would replace this instantly, based just on the geometry. It's like straight up, and that it looks too tall. Like, I think 8 inches for an ore tower should be a maximum. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. Those ore locks also look like ore locks that don't bend. So a lot of ore locks, specifically ones made by NRS, they don't bend. And so when your ore pops, they won't let the ore pop out, and the ore will break there. NRS ore locks have a tendency to break ores. And so I'd want to make sure that those ore locks bend if they're that old or whatever they are, for sure. It's hard to tell what those are. I can't really tell. Some of the old NRS ones did bend. I know the new ones don't. I would not recommend buying any new NRS ore locks for whitewater. If you're going to row on a lake, awesome, you're stoked. But if you're going to row anywhere where your oars might pop, especially if you suck at rowing, if you're good at rowing, you never pop oars, you're probably fine with NRS ore locks. But if your oar management is suspect and you're not really good at rowing, please don't use NRS ore locks. But I'd replace this, I think. This looks old and beat up, and ore locks aren't that expensive, and the new ones NRS makes are really cool. So I'd probably do that. All right. Glue for D. Hopefully I answered that question well. I've been having some issues with D-rings and handles coming unglued on my raft. I think from storing it in a cargo container that gets too hot. Yeah, that makes sense. I contacted the manufacturer and they recommended I use the 2-part Stay Bond adhesive, but I can't find it in stock anywhere. I was wondering if you have any Stay Bond that I could buy, or if there is a different adhesive that you recommend. I don't sell glue. Everything we sell, our other now I want to remind everybody, this is our real sponsor, GoRafting.com. Check them out. There's a link down below. Our other sponsor, which isn't even, this is just me, so it's not actually a sponsor, it's just stuff. This is what I sell. Everything I sell is here. This is mainly throwbacks and hats and shirts. There's not much here. We do sell this tarp that I just used on my last trip. It's expensive, and this photo is from my last trip. These things definitely work. We sell things, but if it's not on here, I don't sell it. Like glue, we don't sell. Sorry, I just don't sell. I sell a minimal amount of stuff, high quality things. If you can find it somewhere else, get it somewhere else. But getting back to glue, if I remember right, Stay Bond sucks. I think Stay Bond, and I might be making some of this stuff up. So just, you ask me a question, I'm giving you my best answer off the top of my head. My answer, I'm just warning you, could be completely wrong. You ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. Again, I am maybe making this stuff up. But from my memory, Stay Bond sucks. And I know this because I glued some stuff with Stay Bond like 10 years ago. It immediately came unglued. And I called the whoever I bought it from, like, oh yeah, Stay Bond sucks. Don't use Stay Bond. And I was pissed because I bought it, and once you glue it and it comes unglued, it sucks. And if I remember right, Clifton is really good for Hypalon. Stay Bond is better for PVC. Stay Bond does work theoretically on Hypalon. I know after that experience and talking to a few people, I will never use Stay Bond again. I'm pretty sure it's Stay Bond. It might be Clifton. I'm pretty sure Stay Bond's the one that sucks. Clifton's the one that's good. I'm 90% sure. So take it or leave it. Maybe Google Stay Bond versus Clifton. I really like the Clifton glue. Yeah, because that's what I have. I have Clifton glue. And so, yeah. Or is there a different adhesive you recommend? Also, short adhesive works, I guess. This isn't rocket science. I mean, it's just glue. They should work. I just know that Stay Bond isn't very good. Heidi's saying Stay Bond isn't stock. Yeah, go to nrs.com. They're not a sponsor, but if you want good customer service and things in stock, that's where you kind of got to go usually is NRS. So, we can just look. Let's pull this up. Let's go to nrs.com. And let's find, I'm just going to type in their handy search function glue. Look at all those glues. So Clifton, look at that. It even says Clifton Hypalon adhesive. I'm pretty sure this is the stuff I like. They use it when they build their Penel Orca boats, which are basically Hypalon, and highly recommend it for an even stronger bond and faster cure time. Mixed with Clifton Hypalon accelerator. I would definitely get the accelerator. Yeah, so that's what they use. Let's go look at Stay Bond, see if Stay Bond's up here. Stay Bond adhesive. Can also be used to bond PVC. Wait, Stay Bond adhesive is great for bonding PVC and urethane coated materials. Okay, it can also be used to bond PVC and urethane to synthetic rubber coated materials like Hypalon. So this is saying it's for PVC and urethane, or attaching PVC to Hypalon. This is not saying this is the Hypalon glue. It looks like it's available. I don't know. I can add it to my cart, but I would get the Clifton Hypalon adhesive. I think that's what you want to go. Here, look at this. This is H2 glue. What's this? This is for kayak. You don't want that. Yeah, so I would get Clifton. This is what I would get, and it looks like you can add it to your cart. Oh, you gotta choose the size. In stock, yeah, in stock and ready to ship. I would just go there. Yeah, the other thing I would do, man, gluing D-ring. Wait, this is a D-ring, right? Let's go back. It's a D-ring. Okay, gluing D-rings in the handle sucks because when you're doing just a patch, it's flat material to flat material. A D-ring or a handle on the bottom side, it's not exactly flat, and it's a little tricky to get everything perfect. I don't know where you live, but I would probably take this to a professional to get done. That's what I would do. I mean, I have a boat that needs a D-ring. It's a urethane boat. D-rings and handles, like, I'm good at repair. I do a lot of repair. I have a D-ring and handle that have to get fixed. I'm driving it to Portland this week to get it fixed. And so I would recommend, this is where I go to Goodwater Boat Works with any D-ring, or let me bring them up here. There you go. This is where I go. I live near Portland. I'm driving an hour, dropping it off. I could do this in an hour probably. And I'm driving, dropping it off, and I'm going to drive an hour back, and I'm going to drive another hour to pick it up, and another hour. I'm going to drive 4 hours to have a professional. I'm going to pay a professional to do it because gluing D-rings and handles sucks. It's hard, in my opinion. So, and I'm done stocking glue. I don't want to have chemicals and glue in my house anymore or near me. And so I don't even want to do repairs anymore at all. So for me, in the field, I'm using Terraid, just bringing a bunch of Terraid Type A. Just that's what I'm bringing. And then if I have to get a boat repaired, I'm now taking it to professional. So I don't have to inhale fumes. I don't have to touch fumes. And I have to own these glues. And glues only last a year, usually. So if you're going to put a glue in your repair kit, you got to buy glue every year for your repair kit. And you're just throwing away a lot. I was throwing away a lot of glue every year, and that's not good for the environment. I mean, glue is probably toxic to make, and then I'm sitting on it, barely using it, and I'm throwing away this toxic chemical. So my whole plan now is repairs use tear aid. When D rings pop, just use a different D ring or tie it to the floor, and then go to a professional who has all the equipment to do it well, and they buy glue in bulk and they use all the glue. They're not throwing it away all the time. That's what I would suggest. That's a little rant. Okay. Clifton being better and stable. Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was right. I have a note somewhere in my file which one's better, so I don't ever forget again. I will stable on the one that sucks. I will never use again. Again, I patched it. It didn't hold, and then I had to clean it all off, buy Clifton, and do it. Like I'm over stable on. I don't know your brand, but Air recommends prepping the surface MBK. I did that in Stay Bond for some foot cups. So this is a totally depends on what you're doing, right? Like if does it say what kind of so if this is this thing, M Silva, thanks for bringing this up. If you're doing Hypalon, for some reason I assumed Hypalon, NRS Hypalon, a Avon, a high side Hypalon. If your thing is Hypalon, you want Clifton, Dib. Although if you use Dib, get Dibs, just get Dibs glue. Go to Dib, call Dib, say I want your glue. They have awesome glue. It's probably better than both of these. Dib is they're an amazing company. Anyway, if it's Hypalon, you want Clifton. If it's PVC or urethane, PVC would be any of the boats that are like made overseas. So Rocky Mountain, Old Bullet boats. I think there's some Air's PVC, but I don't know. I guess you could patch that one. If it's PVC, I think Stay Bond probably works great. Or Clifton had a year. Let's see. Clifton had. Let's go back. Clifton also had. They have urethane. They have PVC adhesive. So you can get Clifton PVC adhesive if it's PVC. You can get Clifton urethane adhesive if it's urethane. If your boat is Sotar or Wing, that's urethane, and those gluing urethane is rough. And so I would get the urethane adhesive, probably the Clifton urethane adhesive. Right? I would call the manufacturer and be like, "What is the best stuff? You do not want to redo this patch." And then what else is there? Oh, if it's so getting back to this Air, I don't know your brand, but Air recommends prepping the surface of MK. So if you're gonna, yeah, of course, you want to clean the surface. So the repair process, well, MEK goes with. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. MEK is super nasty. MEK goes with PVC or urethane. That's how you clean PVC or urethane. Toluene is how you clean Hypalon. And so it depends on the boat. But if you're going to do the repair yourself, you want to clean it with a solvent, which is MEK or toluene, depending on the thing. Clean it really well. The patch, even clean the patch, even if the patch is brand new. The patch side, that side, you want to rough it up with some sandpaper. Put a layer of glue on, let it sit for 15 minutes. A layer of glue on, let it sit for 15 minutes, and then apply it, push the air bubbles out, and you're done. That's the general thing, how you do it. But you definitely want to clean the surface with this solvent. You don't want to glue on dirt. And so, yeah, that's why Air recommends that. And Silva, did you? So, sorry, this is all complicated, but a airboat has a urethane inner bladder that you can basically patch with tear aid. It will probably last indefinitely. The outer layer is generally PVC, and I've always shipped those back to Air to patch, but I guess you could patch the outer layer yourself. And in that case, you would use MEK to clean it because it's PVC. And then I guess Stay Bond will work great for that. I did that in Stay Bond for some foot cups. And if you held foot cups, yeah, foot cups are a pain too. They're like D-rings and handles. Foot cups are tough. Yeah, the outer layer of airboats is almost always PVC. Air, I think now they're all PVC. Air for a while did make some urethane boats. I think they stopped. So all airboats, the inner fabric, the inner tube, the little thin thing, that's a thin urethane. That's what holds the air. The PVC is on the outside. And so if you're patching the outside, you just use a PVC glue or send it back. I only use stay bond with air rafts. Yeah, sweet. That makes sense. And with the air rafts, the outer layer doesn't need to hold air. Like it can have leaks. It can be imperfect. So it doesn't need to hold air. So if stay bond is worse, I don't know if I mean for PVC, I have no idea. I've only owned one PVC boat in my life. I didn't like it and I sold it. So I have almost no experience with PVC boats, but as I understand it, they're pretty easy to repair, and stay bond probably works great on PVC. Again, whoever asked this question, I think it depends on your raft. And if you put a comment, I get probably not watching live because you would say, hey, I have this raft. But if you put it in the comment section in the next couple of days, I'll go through and check it and try to get back to you on what I'd suggest. So that is it, I think. While I have everybody here, I just want to share a couple of things. Go into Whitewater Guidebook. We have a place here to ask a question or comment for future shows. If you want to ask a question or comment, this is the best way to do it because it helps us categorize it and keep track of it. And we have a system for handling questions this way. We also have this forum. You have to hit Rafting Forum and click View Forums that I created just to help answer questions too. Like I was in Idaho last week, so it's been 3 weeks since we've done a Q&A show. So somebody might have asked a question 3 weeks ago, and I'm just getting to it now. If you want to answer it quicker about this is the place to go. And we had some great discussion about the log jams even today. And I posted some video from Brody running the New Velvet Falls. And then somebody, oops, it's not here, but somebody posted a link to hiking down too. So that's super helpful. Okay, a few more quick comments. Yep. Pipeline and stay bond have a very close flash point, making it hard to remove with heat. Not sure what that means. Making it hard to remove with heat. Yeah, I don't know. I've had a hard time having it attach. Period. Oh yeah, that's right. It is M Silva. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So it's been fun. This is a great way. We had a discussion about some things. Matt Silva threw up some videos. It's just a good way to share information about the logjam, which I ran the Middle Fork last week. Everything's good. It's clear. There is something sharp between Ramshorn and Velvet that's popping boats. I mean, it's just there's new rapids. There's no wood there. It's all good. But there's something sharp that's with popping boats. So you want to be careful. There was a lot of wood that's been deposited downstream. For the most part, nothing dangerous, but it's blocked off some channels in some rapids. So some of the channels and some of the rapids are going to change a little bit. So if you're on the Middle Fork, it's going to be a little different. Okay. All right, here we go. Do you know what material is a 2000? Man, no. Call NRS. They have great customer service. Some of their stuff they make is a little suspect, but the customer service is unparalleled. I call them. My guess is, oh man, I can't even guess. It's either Hypelon or PVC. I like Brody's public service announcement, but notice most private boaters do not use forward rowing. Are you seeing most of the guides? Yeah, thanks for liking Brody's public service announcement. Some people got a little pissy about that. I've been seeing this. This come up a lot. Another organization does rowing classes, taught somebody to primarily push, and then they took our rowing class and were frustrated that we taught them to pull as their base stroke. And the reason we teach pulling as a foundational stroke is if there's a danger, you want to pull away from it. You don't want to push past the danger. I've seen so many new rowers push past trees or push past logs. You need to point at the line of that log and pull away. If you're scared, it's a pull. It's not a push. And so we had we had a rowing school student who's been another organization schools go to ours and was upset that we taught something different. And hey, we're just teaching what we think is best. And that started a discussion. Then we had somebody on we've run into a couple people lately, new guides who are trying to push moves they have no business pushing. Like all the other experienced guides are pulling them, and the new guys are pushing them. And a lot of times to show off, to prove that they're super awesome. They push the move and they get stuck, and we have to deal with it because they're and it's ego driven for sure. And so we're seeing with new guides, I see a lot of private boaters push, Heidi. I see a lot. We're watching them when we're scouting rapids, and they're barely making moves, missing moves. So it's not it. This has come up both private and commercially. I think there's a certain ego people have, and Brody does too. Brody's super frustrated with this, where people are trying to push to show off or show that they're or trying to. They see a very experienced boater pushing, and they emulate that, thinking that's the way to go, and getting into trouble. And so pulling should be in my opinion, our foundational stroke. And a lot of new guys are forward rowing, and the reason why is I feel like a lot of people that teach guide schools, like or like people that teach guides, are teaching to push. Now, as guides, we generally are repeating a section of river. You run the rogue 10 times in the summer. That's all you do. You memorize the lines. You know exactly what the currents are. You're rowing all the time. You can push these moves. It can be done. But if you're just there for 1-2 trips a year, you don't know the lines that well. You're not in tune. It's hard to emulate what they're doing. But guides are teaching to push because that's what they do a lot, especially if they're only guides on rivers like the Rogue. If you're only a guide on the Rogue, you can get away with pushing for the most part. But when you're a guide on the Middle Fork or the Tuolumne or the Selway, this pushing thing isn't going to work at all. And we're watching people pushing into camps, and they're coming in with a ton of momentum and running into the other boats and bouncing off the shore when you should be pulling, slowing down, and pulling over to shore. So yeah, it's come up a lot in the past 3 weeks, and we've had to have a lot of discussion with experienced guides or like new guides, but also private boaters who feel like pushing is the way to go because somebody else taught them that. 2003, cool. Less of the Star than PPC. Yeah, NRS didn't own Star in 2003. Star was its own company, so it would have been just Star. It wouldn't have been NRS Star. But that's good to know. Thanks, Type 2 Adventures. Yeah, I could have edited that out, but I kept it in because if I had given that PSA, I would have been even more annoyed than Brody was. I was glad Brody was there to do it in a nicer way than I would have done it because it's incredibly frustrating. There are so many times we're watching people push moves they have no business pushing, zero business pushing. And the reason they're doing it is to either show off, prove something, who knows what. Especially when the boat in front of them with an experienced guide is pulling the move. I don't know. I'm over it. I used the line towards danger with my new rowing friends. And I really liked it. Made better, louder moves. Yep. So the line, for those who don't know, the line towards danger is a danger would be like, it could just be a rock, like a rock you don't want to hit. It could be an undercut rock, a sieve, a tree, something you definitely want to miss. Imagine a line to that danger and pull away from that line. We used to teach pull away from danger, but then people just point at the rock and pull upstream. So imagine a line going upstream with the rock, point at that line and pull away. You're stronger pulling. And if you hit it with your bow and you bounce off. If you're pushing past something and you don't make it, you hit it sideways, which is so dangerous. I have seen several private boaters try to push past logs. It went faster than the current and you're sideways to it. And they hit it and they are sideways up to a log. If you're going to hit a log, you want to hit it with your bow. All right, rant over. I'm so frustrated by this. There's 21 people watching. 21 of you are learning this. However many people watch this afterwards, hopefully you'll get this. Please don't make pushing your primary stroke, and don't even like worry about pulling. Like I'm gonna bring up one more thing because after Brody did that video, I looked through video. He took video of him running rapids, and I just want to point out. Let's pause it. I gotta switch the computer around here a little bit to make this work. All right, here we go. Remove. Sorry, I'm gonna figure out how to do this again. Stop screen, present, share screen. Here's video of Brody rowing. Brody is a beast. Brody can row. He's pulling right now. He's pulling the entrance. Right? He's stronger pulling. Like Brody could push all this. And this isn't a response. Like this is how he rode. He's pushing right now. Brody has the skill to push every move here. He is a absolute beast on the oars. Honestly, there's few people I know that are better than Brody. And so now he's just, when you're going through waves, yeah, you're probably not going to pull, right? But he's trying to tee up the waves right now, push through them. Yeah, he's doing great, right? I'm going to fast forward a little bit. And then he gets down here to he's pushing now a little bit. He's getting his angle. He's just now he's pulling in the entrance. Why push this? You're stronger pulling. Why? There's no reason. And being 90 degrees of the current, although he has to watch his downstream oar, which he's good at, allows you to move like this really easily. He's pulling into position. This is great boating. Again, he could push this, but why? He's also setting an example for the boats behind him. If he's pushing everything, they're going to learn to push. Pivots off of a rock. Now he's pointed towards the left shore and he's kind of ferrying over a little bit. Very relaxed. And then he's just turning the boat. And now he's going to pull the other way to set up for velvet. Again, he has to watch. Being 90 degrees of the current is a powerful thing. He has to watch his downstream more, which he can't. He's doing. It's deep enough, and he's being thoughtful about it for sure. I know he is. But this is mostly pulling. It's good conservative boater. It was easy for him. It was less effort. And he was setting an example for the people behind him. He's pulling again. I think a lot of middle fork guides, other middle fork guides who have an ego, will try to push that whole thing just to be rad. And there's no need to be pushing this up. Pulling is just more effective. So anyway, enough rant. All right. Can one of those hats like you're going to be a trivia prize under one of our shows? Maybe. These are expensive. These weren't cheap. Yeah, we need to get back to trivia. And in terms of the show in general, Aaron's been on the water a lot. I'm going back on the water next week. It's hard to do consistent shows in the summer. But yeah, maybe that's a good idea, Heidi. I'll work on it. Trivia prize. Yeah. So, well, that's the end of the show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Again, thanks, everybody, for supporting the show. We'll do one Friday, and then we'll probably take another week or two off just because we're on the water a lot. But, yeah, I really appreciate everybody, again, supporting the show, being part of it. I've run into a lot of people out there on the river last week who said hello, and it's nice to meet a lot of people outside of the internet. So, yeah, thanks, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you on Friday.